everyone, this is Miss Ward. Tonight your notes are going to be our first concept on the plate tectonics unit. And just so you know, my son Davey is in the room with us, so you may hear his commentary on these notes as well. And don't worry, the notes are not on a black background, that's just the title page, so don't distress. Okay, so let's talk about the geosphere. The geosphere is the solid part of our Earth, and it's what consists of all the rock and soil and sediments on Earth's surface. Most of the geosphere is located in the Earth's interior, just because the majority of the rocks and sediments and solids of the Earth are in the Earth's interior, not on the surface, which we see. So, to discover the interior, the deepest well that we've been able to drill is actually only 12 kilometers deep, which gives us basically no information beyond the surface. On the ground, that's still just the crust. We've never been able to penetrate further than the crust by drilling. So instead of using drills and just drilling down, scientists use something called seismic waves to help learn about the interior. So what is a seismic wave? Well, a seismic wave is the same wave that travels through the Earth during an earthquake. The wave changes based off of the material of what it's traveling through. So it travels through liquid differently than it travels through solid. It travels through every material differently. And so by measuring the changes in speed and direction of the wave, we're able to learn that the Earth has three main layers and what they're made of. Again, those three main layers are when we consider the core, the inner, and outer to be one layer. So, considering the three layers, they have the crust, the mantle, and the core. The core can be split, like I said, into two separate layers, the inner core and the outer core. Each layer gets denser as you approach the center of the Earth. That means there's more matter taking up less space as you get closer to the center of the Earth. It's more and more compact. Looking at the crust, the Earth's thin outer layer is made out of almost entirely from light elements. It makes up less than 1% of the planet's mass, so it's really not a huge piece of the puzzle, which is why we say that the majority of the geosphere is on the inside, not on the outside. It's the thinnest layer. It can be only 5 to 8 kilometers thick below the ocean, and between 20 and 70 kilometers thick below the continents. So even though we were able to drill 12 kilometers deep, we still have never gotten past the crust because we're not able to drill that deep in the ocean because it's too difficult to get to the bottom of the ocean and then still drill down even further. So we've only been able to do it on the drill that far on land, and on land the crust is much thicker than what we've been able to drill through, almost twice as thick, and sometimes up to 5 times as thick. All right, the mantle. The mantle is the layer that's beneath the crust, and it makes up 64% of the mass of the Earth. The mantle is approximately 2,900 kilometers thick, and it's made of a very dense, iron-rich material. The core. The Earth's innermost layer is the core. The core is composed of the densest elements with a radius of approximately 3,400 kilometers. And again, that's including the inner and outer core together. If we consider those to be separate layers, then we consider the mantle to be the thickest layer. But if you combine the inner and outer core, they combined are the thickest. Like I said, it's separated into the inner and outer core. The outer core is liquid iron and nickel, while the inner core is solid iron and nickel. So they're made up of the same stuff, but one piece is solid, one piece is liquid. That's why we sometimes separate them. So that's the layers. So the layers are based off of what their things are made out of. So the crust is light materials, mantle is made up of liquid hot magma, and the core is made out of nickel and iron. The structure of the Earth is when we start talking about its actual functionality and what those pieces do. So the lithosphere is the cool, rigid layer that includes the crust and the uppermost part of the mantle. The lithosphere is divided into tectonic plates. The asthenosphere is a plastic solid layer of the mantle that flows very slowly like asphalt, and it allows the tectonic plates to move on top of it. It's not a super gooey liquid. It's not very, some people will refer to it as a liquid/solid because it has solid sort of qualities, but also it's liquid. It's very much like a very thick asphalt that hasn't dried yet, so it's very viscous. Beneath the asthenosphere is what we call the mesosphere, and that's just the last part of the mantle. So these really come into play when we separate the mantle into the upper, middle, and lower mantle. The upper mantle in the crust is the lithosphere, the middle mantle is the asthenosphere, and then the lower mantle, the bottom mantle, is the mesosphere. Okay, that is it for your notes for tonight. It was pretty simple stuff. This should have all been pretty much review over what we've already talked about in class, and hopefully information you've picked up along the years in different science classes. Make sure you go online and you do the whisk. It is right below the notes. Start off this unit strong, and make sure you have everything done on Monday when I go to check it so you can get both of those signatures. Have a great night.